It lands like a slap, the crumpled paper skidding across the black mat and whispering to a stop against polished marble that has never known such small, ugly weight. Trash skidding. Mist still clings low between white headstones beyond the arches, thin as breath in cool Virginia air, and the sun burns the tomb so bright it looks like a blade drawn from the earth. Flags snap above with a temper older than speech, flags snapping. Boots keep time, 21 steps hammered into stone until the sound cuts off like a severed line. Boots striking stone, then silence. He halts mid-stride. The tomb guard's heel kisses the edge of the mat with the finality of a gavel. A rifle gleams, mirror slick with faint gun oil, throwing a ribbon of light that slices the noon glare. His uniform holds at attention like a promise forged in wool. Seams, knife-sharp, brass bright as first light. The rough velvet rope shivers in the fists of the crowd as the mother in the front squeezes too hard, friction burning into her skin. A murmur rakes the hush, equal parts shock and shame. Crowd murmurs. "Relax!" A man in sunglasses snorts near the back, voice pitched to bruise the silence. "He's a statue." A boy tugs his teacher's sleeve, eyes huge. "Why'd they throw it?" The teacher doesn't answer. The guard pivots with a motion that cuts the air in half. Rifle snapping. His face is marble, not because he is unfeeling, but because he has welded feeling to discipline so tightly that nothing leaks. He holds the tomb with his eyes. He holds the crowd with the geometry of his stance. He holds himself because he must. Another laugh cracks from the cluster, thin, brittle, hungry for attention. "Taxpayer theater," one says, flicking a fresh wad of paper between thumb and forefinger. "Let's see the toy soldier march around this." The smell shifts with the heat. Autumn leaves crushed under slow shoes, a curl-on, a cigarette blown where it shouldn't be, the clean edge of oil and metal rising from the sentinel's hands. The marble throws light like fire, sweat beads under caps and on brows. A tourist leans across the rope until the braid rasps her palm, and she jerks back, chastened by the feel of boundary. The veteran in the wheelchair doesn't blink. His knuckles whiten around a cane, jaw set. His voice is the scrape of gravel. "Not here." The guard doesn't acknowledge him, doesn't acknowledge anyone. He can't. He is 21 steps worth of law. He is the pause between steps now, and all that law gathers behind his stillness until it feels like weather. The first paper lies small and stupid at his feet. "Pick it up, statue," the man in sunglasses says, a grin he didn't earn spreading on his face. The guard's heel drops an inch, enough to tell stone he remembers how to move, boot edge settling, then nothing. His silence tightens the ground under every shoe. Flags hammer the air once, twice, as if the wind itself is irritated by what it's been asked to carry, flag snapping. "See?" another voice says, slick and loud. "All pose, no purpose." A child's whisper threads up from the rope. "Mama, why are they mean?" Her answer is a breath, a prayer. "Shh, watch." The guard's shadow stretches long across the mat, climbing the base of the sarcophagus until it fuses with the carved words that do not explain and do not excuse. Known but to God. For a breath, he looks soldered to the stone. Man and monument one outline. The bayonet gathers the sun on its edge and throws it back in a thin white flare that makes the mocker squint and look small. He is trained for drunks and thunder, for tourists who forget themselves and power that loves spectacle. He is not trained for trash. He is trained for silence, and silence is heavier than anger when you know how to lift it. The veteran's cane taps once on marble, crisp as a metronome. Cane tick. "That's not paper," he says softly, to no one and everyone. "That's respect, you balled up." "Respect this," the man in sunglasses says, and laughs like a man who believes nothing can touch him. The guard moves a breath, not a step, an intention. The rifle comes alive across his chest, stock warm beneath the glove from hours of skin and ritual. Rifle snapping. The air tightens. The mother's grip loosens on the rope because clenched reverence is turning into fear. The boy sets his chin because the soldier hasn't looked away and he wants to learn how to be that still. Gun oil, marble dust, leaf-sweet air. Everything sits waiting inside the pause. The guard chooses thunder. The butt of his rifle strikes the stone, and the sound rips the plaza, wide open. Rifle butt booming on marble. Echoes barrel down the steps and out across the white rows, the kind of echo that goes looking for names and finds them everywhere. A flock of pigeons lifts dumbly from a tree and can't find a place to land that isn't already taken by history. Every head turns, every mouth shuts, even the breeze forgets to move, and the flags hang in the shock for a heartbeat before snapping back hard, as if slapped awake. Flags snapping hard. The veteran's eyes shine, but don't soften. "Listen," he says to the mockers without raising his voice. "The dead just answered you." The man in sunglasses sneers, but it trembles at the edge. He drags on his cigarette he isn't supposed to have, bitterness curling from his mouth like an insult that won't commit. "Make him speak," he mutters to his friend, and courage in a pack looks for a stage. The guard does not speak. The silence he keeps is a punishment and a prayer. The bayonet lifts a sliver of sun that chooses sides. "Soldier," another tourist calls, too eager, half daring, half pleading. "Say something." The veteran turns his head slowly. He already did. A schoolgirl's voice, small but clean. "What did he say?" "He said, 'Remember,'" the veteran answers. Nothing in him moves but his mouth. Legend rises in the heat like a mirage that's true. The sentinel frozen mid-step, rifle across his chest, bayonet burning white, shadow welded to the tomb's face, the tiny ball of trash at his boot, obscene and ridiculous, a speck of noise against an ocean of silence. You could print that image and hang it in a place where men go to feel like they can be better. The man in sunglasses looks straight at the guard as if daring the sky. "Statues don't bleed," he says. From somewhere near the rope, a voice you can't place answers, flat as iron. "Soldiers do." The mocker grins wider, because he can't read a room where the room is a cemetery and the ceiling is a nation. He crumples another flyer in one hand, smiling at the shape of it, at the idea of a thing made to inform becoming a thing made to insult. He tosses the wad up once, catches it, enjoys the way the crowd recoils before anything even happens. "Round 2, he says, and the words are a child's dare in a man's mouth. The guard does not move. The crowd's breath stacks into a single fragile column between insult and consequence. The rope creaks in a dozen palms. The mist burns off the headstones until they shine like rows of witnesses. The man flicks his wobbeyers. With the second scrap arcs in sunlight, a small cheap orbit headed for sacred ground. Paper whipping through air. And the plaza freezes, because everyone knows that in one more heartbeat, something that never should have been thrown will land where nothing unworthy belongs. The paper sails, twisting in the light like a moth, with no place to land. Paper fluttering. It hits the marble with a flat smack and skids across the black mat, coming to rest beside the first wad. 2 blemishes now, cheap and ordinary, against stone polished by tears and footsteps measured to the second. The crowd's gasp is sharp enough to cut skin. Crowd gasp. The guard halts, his boots slammed down with such precision the sound feels like a sentence passed. Boots striking marble. He pivots, rifle alive across his chest, bayonet blazing in noon sun. Rifle snapping. The mockers grin, feeding on the silence, mistaking it for weakness. One slaps the other's back. 2 for 2, he chuckles, loud enough to bruise the quiet, and the statue still won't flinch. But he does flinch, inside. Every muscle taut as a wire, every breath calibrated against fury. His oath binds him tighter than chains. He is to guard, not to lash out, to honor, not to indulge anger. His silence must be thunder, his stillness the verdict. The veteran cannot hold his tongue. His voice rumbles low like gravel under wheels. "Not paper you threw, that was yourself." His cane taps the marble once, cane striking. The sound is sharp, like punctuation on truth. The crowd shifts, whispers slicing through the hot air. The guard plants his boot, then brings the rifle down. The butt slams into marble with a crack like cannon fire, rifle butt booming. The report shakes the plaza, rolling down the rows of headstones like thunder waking the dead. Flags snap high, caught by wind, the echo seemed to summon. flags whipping. Children flinch against mothers. A boy near the rope clamps both hands to his ears, eyes wide with awe and terror. A woman whispers, "God help them," and no one asks who she means. The guard's shadow fuses with the tomb, stretching long and dark, welding itself across the carved words, "Known but to God." For one heartbeat, he looks like he belongs to the inscription, as though the stone is borrowing his flesh to speak. His bayonet catches firelight from the eternal flame, throwing it back at the mockers in thin white blades. The men laugh again, but the sound is thinner now, cracked around the edges. One mutters, "What's he gonna do? March us to death?" His grin flickers under the weight of 50 staring eyes. The guard does not blink. His eyes fix into eternity. His silence is a weapon sharper than the bayonet. The crowd can feel it, an invisible weight pressing down on the desecrators, harder than any chain. The veteran speaks again, this time louder. "That silence? It's louder than you'll ever be." The mocker sneers back, voice high, defensive. "The dead don't care about trash." He kicks the rope for emphasis, velvet braid thrumming like a plucked cord, rope vibrating. The guard pivots with surgical precision, rifle snapping. He faces the tomb again, but every step, every turn carries judgment. The boy whispers, "Mama." He's not even looking at them. She strokes his hair, whispering back, "He doesn't need to." Legend sharpens in that instant. A sentinel under the blaze of noon, rifle planted like lightning, bayonet glowing white, shadow carved into stone, and 2 scraps of paper lying at his feet like wounds on marble. The crowd holds its breath, every heart beating to his cadence. The silence is unbearable. One of the mockers finally snaps, voice jagged with anger. "If he's so tough, make him speak." The words drop like stones into the hush. The crowd stiffens, horror dawning, crowd murmurs rising. The boy clutches his mother tighter. The veteran grips his cane with both hands, knuckles white. And the guard does not move. He is silence incarnate. The tourists grin wider, mistaking that silence for surrender. "Yeah," one jeers. "Statue's got no voice." The air thickens, electric, waiting for something to break. And the threat hangs like a storm on the edge of thunder. The demand that the guard speak. An order that could shatter everything. Afternoon drapes long shadows across the white rows, each headstone cutting a dark line like soldiers still standing watch. The heat breaks into breeze, carrying the smell of cut grass and faint smoke from the eternal flame. Flame hissing softly. The plaza holds its breath. 2 scraps of paper lie at the sentinel's boots, obscene against the perfection of the mat. The mockers feed on the silence. One draws deep on his cigarette and lets the smoke curl toward the tomb. "See? He can't do anything," he says. "Just a wind-up toy." His friend grins, voice sharp enough to slice the hush. "The dead don't care." The words cut deeper than trash. The crowd shifts, as if the insult struck flesh. A mother gasps, pressing her child's face into her side. A teacher lowers her head, whispering, "Lord, forgive them." The veteran grips his cane tighter, fury shaking in his jaw. The guard pivots, boots grinding marble, rifle snapping. His shadow stretches, fusing with the sarcophagus, swallowing the carved words, "Known but to God." For one heartbeat, he isn't just a man. He is the inscription, steel and oath welded to eternity. His bayonet gleams in the fading light, flame reflected along its edge, as if the fire itself has chosen a weapon. The veteran lifts his voice, gravel turned to iron. "You fools think silence is weakness. That silence is the unknown, and it weighs more than you can carry." The mockers laugh, but the laughter is thin now, cracked. "If it's so heavy," one sneers, "make him speak. Come on, statue, say something." The boy near the rope whispers, eyes wide, "Mama, will he talk?" His mother shakes her head, but her own voice wavers. "He never does." The guard halts, boots striking marble like thunder, boot slam echoing. He stares forward, chest rising with slow iron breath. His silence grows unbearable, a dam straining against flood. The veteran's voice lashes again. That man is holding back the storm. Pray you never hear it. The crowd trembles on the edge. Crowd murmurs low, uneasy. Phones lift, trembling hands recording what feels like a line being crossed. The paper scraps flutter in the wind, rattling like guilty ghosts. Legend crystallizes in that moment. The sentinel, bayonet blazing in twilight, shadow fused with sacred words, silence heavier than law. Two scraps of trash at his feet look less like paper now and more like wounds, bleeding shame into marble. And then one of the mockers shouts, his voice jagged, desperate to provoke. You guard stone, not men. You guard ghosts. They don't care what we throw. Gasps slice the crowd like knives. Crowd gasp sharp. Mothers clutch children. Veterans choke on rage. The boy buries his face in his mother's coat, the rough fabric scratching his cheek. The guard's chest rises once deeper now. His boots scrape an inch forward. The crowd leans as though the earth itself tilted. And the threat hangs heavy, storm-dark, inevitable. If another word leaves their mouths, silence will break. Twilight hardens into steel. Floodlights roar to life, drowning the plaza in blinding white. Floodlights buzzing. The tomb glows like bone against black sky, the eternal flame burning fierce beside it. Flame crackling. Shadows stretch long and deep, and the scraps of paper at the guard's boots look like stains, small but unbearable. The mockers haven't stopped. One cups his hands around his mouth, voice booming ugly across sacred stone. Ghosts do, and care, soldier. You're wasting your life marching for nothing. His laugh is harsh, brittle, meant to shatter silence. The crowd recoils. A mother covers her child's ears. The veteran slams his cane against marble, cane cracking stone, his voice breaking with fury. Enough! But the jeers keep coming, carried on arrogance and the stink of smoke. The air is acrid now, sweat and tobacco mixing with the clean Virginia night. The guard halts mid-stride. Boots slam marble with thunder, boots detonating. He pivots, rifle snapping across his chest, bayonet slicing floodlight into shards of silver. Rifle snapping sharp. His shadow stretches across the tomb until it looks like the words themselves have risen in flesh. Known, but to God. The crowd feels the air shift, thick with storm. Reverence is no longer just quiet, it is fear. Phones tremble in hands, some lower them, unable to film what feels like judgment about to descend. The veteran whispers, hoarse, to the mother clutching her boy. Pray for them. He warned the storm. The mocker laughs again, desperate. Statues got no voice. And the storm breaks. The guard's chest swells, and his voice erupts, low, thundering, rolling across marble like a cannon blast. Not one scrap! The floodlights shiver in their housings. The echo ricochets off the rows of headstones, deepening with every return until it sounds like a chorus of the dead answering back. Echo booming through the cemetery. His boot slams down, boots slam like thunder. His voice roars again, louder, a verdict tearing through the night. Not one laugh. The mockers freeze, faces pale, eyes wide. Their arrogance bleeds away under the weight of a sound older than them, heavier than them, carried by every name carved into white stone. The guard steps forward, each stride like judgment. The bayonet burns in the floodlight, silver turned to fire. His roar splits the night one final time, a command carved from eternity. Crosses this tomb. The plaza shakes in silence after. Mothers weep. Veterans salute, hands trembling against brows. The boy stares with wet eyes, whispering, Mama, the soldier is thunder. His mother pulls him close, tears streaking her face. No, baby. He's more than thunder. He's theirs. Legend burns eternal in that moment. A sentinel under blinding light, rifle across his chest, shadow welded to stone, his voice rolling across the world as if the unknown themselves spoke through him. The scraps of trash at his boots look small, ridiculous, already forgotten beneath the roar. The mockers stand frozen, their sneers shattered. The crowd knows they've been weighed and found wanting, and the night holds its breath, waiting to see if they will dare another word. Night has settled full and deep over Arlington, the stars sharp above like medals pinned to the dark. The floodlights hold their watch, painting the tomb in white fire, floodlights humming. The eternal flame hisses steady, its glow curling smoke into the wind, flame hissing. The scraps of trash lie still on the mat, but their insult has already been buried under the weight of thunder. The mockers are no longer laughing, their faces pale under floodlight, our masks cracked open by shame. One tries to speak, but no words come. The other stares at the ground, lips pressed thin. What arrogance looked like minutes ago now looks like children caught where they should never have been. The crowd does not move to jeer or condemn. They do not need to. The silence has become judgment enough. Veterans salute, hands trembling, salutes sharp, as if decades younger. Mothers press hands to their hearts, fathers bow their heads, and from the rope, the boy lifts his small arm and salutes again, clumsy but earnest, his eyes glistening in the glow of firelight. The guard pivots, rifle snapping. His boots strike the marble, cadence restored, thunder rolling once more into eternity. Boots clicking steady. 21 steps, heel to toe, turn, rifle to chest. His march erases the insult, swallows it whole, folds it into silence, stronger than any words. A reporter whispers into a microphone, her voice breaking. They threw trash tonight. But what they threw was not paper. It was themselves. And silence froze them where they stood. The veteran in the wheelchair lets his hand fall from salute, tears carving lines down his cheeks. His voice rasps into the heavy air. Protocol can punish him, but history will not. History will call this night what it was, honor louder than arrogance. His cane taps once against the marble, cane striking, the scraps of paper stir in the wind, sliding softly.